Hey everybody, welcome back to the Gamers Lounge podcast. My name is John Meadows. With me as always is Nathaniel and Eric. What is going on, fellas?
Hey, how's it going? Just
Gaming is going on.
Yeah.
Huzzah!
Huzzah, yes.
gaming, woohoo!
Yeah.
We
Lots
like
of
those games.
lots of trailers and lots of good things and new things to play things, old things on, and new things to play new things on.
Yeah.
All kinds
There may
of
not
things.
be an E3, but it's still video game Christmas.
Yep, that's usually the deal in the summertime. It's no big deal. That's the way it happens. But yeah, lots and lots to talk about. Oh, let me shut this window down so I can pull the show notes up because I have summer movies up for some reason. Where I was looking through summer movies because I couldn't remember what was coming out. So what we were talking
It's
about.
relevant, John.
It is. It's very relevant. Okay. I don't know if Dennis will hop in after a while or something. He's disappeared. He was supposed to be here. So if he does, we'll shuffle him in, but we'll see how it goes. I guess what we'll talk about first. Well, Nathaniel, you go ahead because we both have the Ally to talk about and stuff. But I guess go ahead and talk about Zelda if there's anything new and exciting to add about Zelda that you didn't talk about last week or last show.
I'll keep it relatively short because if Dennis shows up, he's going to talk about it somewhere too, so we can have some back and forth. But
Yeah.
I got the Master Sword finally today, so that's cool.
Yeah,
Nice.
That's cool.
After I'm for 70 hours, I think, in the game now. So
Jeez.
That's a commitment right there.
my sister is over 100, so I'm not going to catch
Wow.
up to her.
Okay,
She's
serious commitment.
She's a teacher, so she's not working right now. She's just
got
playing Zelda.
she's got summer. She got that summer off, so she
Yep.
could stay up late and get up in the morning, just sit down and have her coffee and keep playing Zelda. So good for her.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've
I've pushed the
hardly
main
played it.
story a little bit more, and then just a bunch more side stuff that's all in that game. And yeah, I've played a ton of it, but I don't know that I have much to say about it on my own, unless Dennis does show up and has some stuff that prompts a conversation.
Yeah, no, I haven't played it very much. I don't think I've played it anymore since we did a last show. I was busy last week. I was busy this week, so it's been very, very light on the gaming. And then, what was funny was I had a store in Columbus to do, and I probably should have stayed all night in Columbus and then just been up there the next morning. But I decided to come home because it was the store was on Tuesday, and it was on Monday, and the Ally was coming in, so I wanted to throw some games on it, and then because I was going to be out of town the rest of the week, so it was like, okay, I want to throw a couple games on it so I could try it out, and take it with me. And of course, let's see, one of the games didn't work. Because there's some kind of, it was the Star Trek Resurgence game. There's some kind of error with the game on the Ally for some reason that it throws up a Unreal Engine error and crashes the game as soon as you open it. Why, I don't know. It runs fine on desktops, but you open it up on the Ally for some reason and it just goes kaput. So I don't know if it's a driver or what. What was the other game that was Jedi Survivor, and played a little bit of it. It runs a little bit better on the Ally. I got the Ally here in my hand if anybody's watching the video. So, and it runs fine on here. It runs better than it does on Steam Deck. I'll say that.
You better.
Yeah, you could play it in a higher resolution, and it holds the 30 frames per second a whole lot better than what it did on the.
But hey, that game isn't super well optimized yet, anyway. So,
No. It's like today. Today's really the day that I really got to do a lot with it. Last night I installed the SSD in it. Oh, I did play. I did download Madden 24 to it just to see how it ran on there through Game Pass. That thing was getting 60 to 100 frames a second, running at max settings. It looked really good on the Ally. It's like, okay, that's how I could play my sports games then, because you just sit there mindlessly play football or whatever. But yeah, I've put everything on it that you could. I got Xbox. I got the Humble app. I got good old GOG, Steam, Ubisoft Connect,
He's
EA,
got it
BattleNet, the Epic's game launcher, itch.io, because I got games on all those things. So, and I had a lot more on Ubisoft Connect than I thought I did. I don't know how I got some of the games on the Ubisoft app that I have. I knew working at GameStop back in the day, they gave us a code for like Assassin's Creed 2 or something like that on PC. But now all of a sudden, I've got Black Flag and Unity.
Well, they've given away a lot of those for free at times, and I think sometimes you didn't even have to like accept it. They just put them in people's accounts or something, maybe, or maybe I'm misremembering that. I think also could be sometimes they show up there if it's in your Steam account too.
Yeah.
Well, and maybe that's it. I don't have Unity on Steam. I've got it on.
Unity was definitely one they gave away for free because I have that one on Ubisoft.
That must be it then, because but some of the Steam games, they show up in there too, which that's fine. But like today, I downloaded Arkham Origins, Red Dead Redemption 2, Hogwarts, Baldur's Gate, Grounded. And
Arkham Origins and Red Dead Redemption 2, two very differently sized
I know,
games.
right? Yeah. Red Dead runs about 40 frames a second at 1080p, which is nice. Arkham Origins at 1080p runs 90 frames per second on this thing at high.
That one's fine. For RDR, I would probably bump it down to 720 and use the upscaler, and you get like it look pretty good unless you're like really close to the screen. It like from the couple things I've tested on it, looks pretty good.
Yeah, it's and like I said, I really haven't got to tinker with it. Hogwarts will run about 40 to 60 frames, depending on what you set it on. If I set it on low and 720, it'll get 60 frames all day long, and then use the FSR to boost it. It looks really cool. Forza Horizon 5, I can get it to run at a solid 60 frames a second, no problem. I'm running it off my SD card, and I think it's not going to run real well off that. There's a lot of long loading. Like when I click the game to start it, it takes forever to load. And I mean, I've got
having some decent loading times.
Yeah, but this is like
from an SD card, it is going to bottleneck it some.
Well, yeah, and the SD card is like the high end. I mean, this is the high end SD card that this reader has on it. I would have thought it would have run a little better.
Still an SD card, but yeah.
But because nothing else, I don't have any other problems running anything else on it. I haven't tried Baldur's Gate yet. I did try Diablo yesterday, or the day before yesterday on there, because I did download it too, and it runs really well, which is 60 frames a second. I haven't re-downloaded it yet since I put the new hard drive in it.
Oh, got it.
But one of the other games I downloaded was that Planet of Lana.
Oh, yeah, I heard good things about it.
Yeah, it's really, really cool, and it'll run at 120 frames on this thing. Because, it's just a 2D side-scrolling puzzle game, so it runs really, really well on here at high settings. I don't know how much you've played it, Nathaniel, but for me, coming from Steam Deck, to just be able to download my launchers and be able to play like Game Pass games and Steam games and, from wherever else, itch.io, all that stuff, it's just super easy. But it's still just literally a Windows laptop in your hand. It doesn't feel like a console game. And Steam Deck doesn't either, but the Steam Deck is a lot more streamlined to feel like I could just click the game, play it, and it just runs and it does good. I don't have to go in and do a lot of stuff with it. And they may get there eventually with this. I don't think they will because it's Windows. I mean, it's just it's Windows. I mean, when you
there's some stuff they could do to clean it up a little bit, but yeah, it's running off of Windows. It's not running on like a custom OS build of whatever the Steam Deck is, that they put a lot of work into it.
Yeah, and
it's just an app.
Yeah, and I mean, that's the good thing about the Ally, and that's the bad thing about the Ally. The good thing about the Ally is it runs that way. Runs Windows, so you can play everything easily. But but there's a lot of quirkiness I have with it. Like sometimes the the armor crate just locks up for no apparent reason. Just like
I haven't had that at all.
Well, like if I put it in sleep mode and then come back and log in, like my control pad does not work on Armory Crate. I have to hit the button to minimize Armory Crate and then open it back up again, and then it works just fine. Sometimes it'll just randomly freeze in the middle of doing Armory Crate. Yeah, it's just one of the things. The one thing that I hate the most is where the power button and the volume button is. Because I don't know about you, but when I have this sitting down on something, this is where I grab it and pick it up. And I usually end up hitting the volume button and turning it up to 17,000 before I get it in my hand.
Just don't squeeze it so hard, John. Come on.
I barely touch it. I will say, though, the speakers in this thing is friggin' amazing.
The speakers are great. Yeah, they're really are.
Yeah, I'm shocked. I usually keep the volume.
How small they are, they sound really like big and beefy.
Yeah, I usually keep it on like 15 because it's usually really loud. Like I was sitting at the end of the couch today, and when I put the new hard drive in last night and reset all the settings, of course the master volume starts out at 60 when you first turn it on, and it was like, oh gosh, that's way too loud. But it is really cool. A lot of the shortcuts I got to get used to with the back buttons. I don't like the back buttons on this like I do on the Steam Deck. They're very unintrusive on the Steam Deck, where this one I find myself clicking them a lot, but I don't have them set for anything, so it's no big deal.
I'm not clicking them that much at all. I think it's really comfortable for me.
Yeah, but you don't have gargantuan hands like I
hands.
Because like mine, literally where I hold them, my fingers rest right on them the whole time, and if I'm in the middle of something, I click it. Which, like I said, I don't have them set up for anything, so which is good.
Yeah, because by default in like Armory Crate system level, whatever, they're kind of like a macro modifier button. So if you hold it down and hit different directions on the D-pad, it does stuff. But yeah, just clicking them themselves usually doesn't do anything.
Yeah, no, and that's a good thing because I end up clicking them all the time. But yeah, I mean, overall, this... I haven't decided yet if this is going to be like, well, I'm never picking up the Steam Deck again. This is going to be the thing I'm going to play on. This is probably going to be the thing I'll play AAA games on when I'm on the road. But the Steam Deck...
If you're wanting to play something with mouse controls, you'd rather do it on the Steam Deck.
Right,
this is only going to be good for gamepad style, like PC games.
I'm wondering, like Baldur's Gate, that would be interesting to play on both and kind of see...
Well, it plays really good on the Steam Deck. I have it loaded on here. I just haven't. I haven't haven't booted it up yet.
I bought that this weekend. I haven't installed it.
Yeah,
I'm excited.
Yeah, I need to. That's the one game that I didn't have time today to actually hit the button and say let's give it a few minutes to see how well it works. Yeah. But I mean, overall, I mean it's good. I like the way the fan ventilation is not straight up. It's kind of at an angle, so it kind of goes this way instead of going this way, which is nice. It doesn't have that cool Steam Deck smell when it's running. That I can go, oh man, that smells good. But it just doesn't smell like anything. I'm very disappointed. Hey, if anybody's got a Steam Deck and ever smelled it while it's spewing out hot air, you'll know what I'm talking about. But
that's a smell of burning your nostril hairs.
Yeah, it's a smell of electronics burning. I love it. But yeah, I mean, overall, I really like it. How much time had you spent with it, Nathaniel?
I spent a few hours with it, mostly today. I did a little bit the other day when I got it to set it up and download a few things, and I had like maybe half an hour another day after that, but most of it was just today. I think that the little quirkiness and clunkiness of Windows 11 being in there is one like drawback that it's not that big a deal. And then I don't like the sticks, how loose they are.
They are very loose.
They're very loose sticks. So if you haven't, are looking into getting it and you like tighter sticks, this does not have that.
No, they're definitely not as tight as the Steam Deck. They are very loose, but I've kind of gotten a little used to them.
Like it just took some, playing around with it to get used to kind of how they feel, and that's pretty much all.
Have you updated the BIOS yet to the newest BIOS? Do you know?
Like when I got it, I did an update for think everything, including the BIOS. I'll have to check
I was
that.
going to say if you're on 8.13, then, or if you're not on 8.13, don't update it till they do the new BIOS, because the new BIOS actually cuts performance by 30%.
That sucks.
So of course it automatically updated for me, and then the next day it was like, oh, don't update your Ally to the newest BIOS because it cuts percentage of the games. I'm like, oh, well, too late. It done it automatically.
Yeah.
But they said they're aware of it and they're working on fixing it. So, but
Yeah, so by far the best thing about it is the screen.
Yeah, it is a nice
That screen is super nice.
Yeah.
Because it's all the whole, 1080p, but also the variable refresh makes it just feel very smooth most of the time when you're playing, at least the stuff I've tried so far.
Yeah, I haven't seen any kind of with the variable refresh. I havened seen like lots of screen tearing or felt.
Not seen any.
Yeah, I mean it's been really.
Because I've played about 15 minutes of Elden Ring just to play around in there, just to run around hey, summon Tort and gallop around and just see what it felt like. And then I played Hollow Knight and beat one of the bosses in there where I was at in my save. Because it was it downloaded the cloud save, so it's okay, I've got 2 saves. One's pretty much complete, and one is I've played 3 hours. I'll load up the one that I played 3 hours and see where I'm at and just run around. Hollow Knight runs really, really well on there.
Yeah.
I think any kind of side-scrolling thing like that is going to run super well and super smooth. I played a couple hours of Uncharted 4, and that looks really, really good.
Oh, that's
I was using the in-game in-game stuff to do the up-res, because they have the built-in kind of things you can do different levels of it in there. And I think I have it one notch from native, not one notch down from native, and on medium settings, and it was around 45 to 70
that's
FPS
good.
all the time I was playing. It was super smooth. All the animations looked nice. It was yes, this is what Uncharted 4 looks like. It looks really nice, and it's in my hands. This is nuts.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy, isn't it? The first time, Steam Deck wise, it was, it was, oh my gosh, I can't believe we're playing this. And then when I got this one, it's oh, this is really nice, nice. But this is with your first PC handheld. It's oh my gosh, this is amazing. I didn't think about Uncharted. I have that game. I need to download it and try it out on this. I have not tried it out on this yet.
Yeah. And I also played a couple hours of Bloodstained Ritual of the Night, which I have not played before, and that was a lot of fun. I basically played through kind of the first boss at the end of the tutorial zone and just a little bit past that. It's very much a Castlevania type game.
Yeah, that's cool.
It's that's what it was advertised as, and that's what it feels like.
That's what it is.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, I like it. I like it a lot. The touchscreen is nice because on Windows, unless you've got a mouse and keyboard hooked up to it, you're using the touchscreen a lot to navigate.
You can use the right stick as a mouse cursor thingy, but if you're running an auto mode for controls, it doesn't always switch over to that.
Yeah.
One nice thing that I did, they added the little command center on the left that you can pop up that menu, if it's not there by default. I think I had added the keyboard.
Yep.
Because sometimes if it doesn't pop up, or if there's just something you want it to pop up, you can just magically do that there.
And I've found out that if you hold the back button down and hit up on the D-pad, the keyboard automatically pops up whenever.
Yeah, there's the lovely little button combos that I haven't bothered to learn yet.
That's the only one that I learned, because that's the only one I've
learned one. It's the if you hit left on the D-pad with that, it goes to desktop.
Oh, okay, that's cool. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, I looked at them and then I didn't stick into my memory yet because I haven't had to actually use them. So it's one of those things. Once you use it a few times, you'll remember it. I just haven't had enough time with it to commit it to memory.
Yeah, that's the way it is with me. I haven't had a whole lot of time with it. But
I've played it some unplugged, some plugged in. I was if you're playing a AAA game, you're gonna want to play it plugged in, or you're gonna have to after a little while anyway, because your battery's gonna go.
Yeah, I have yet.
Even if you restrict it, change the wattage and change settings and all that stuff to try and make it run really nicely, it's still gonna eat your battery.
Yeah,
just doesn't have that much.
I have still not played it without being charged or on the charger. So Like this is the first time just sitting here with it in front of me that I've had it off the charger.
I was playing Bloodstained with it off, and I think I went for about an hour and a half before I plugged it back in, and it wasn't like completely empty by then either. It was probably
that's not bad.
I think it was like in the 20% something, and that's not a game that's pushing it by any means.
Right,
so.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's a bunch of different things that I could learn to like, okay, here, tweak these things and I'll get more battery life out of it. I just haven't done any of that yet.
Yeah, and you can set it up to automatically, go into profiles when you're unplugged and you're playing this, go into silent.
Yep, yeah. You have to do that. You can't not do it.
Yeah. So, but I turned it on. Now it's like I'm operating in 25-watt auto mode all the time because it's like, no, I want the power. It's like I don't care if my battery lasts 15 minutes. It's like, but yeah, I'm gonna have to like install. And that's the one nice thing that with the 1 terabyte internal drive that I bought. There's some things that I'm just gonna have to install on the internal hard drive to get it to run, like probably Forza, because Forza is just it's not running real well off the.
Because that's the one that they demoed a lot when they were showing off demo units, so it's supposed to run pretty well. So I would assume,
and it runs.
It's just a thing from the SSD that is your problem there.
It runs great. I mean, it runs 60 frames solid, and I've got it, and it never drops a frame, but it just takes forever to load, and sometimes it'll load crash. It won't even. So I'm thinking
it's just something with how it has to pull data from the SD card is going to be slower than the M.2, just because it's going through more circuitry or something.
Yeah, and that's fine. That's why I installed the 1 gig on there, just in case, or 1 terabyte on there, just in case I need.
You downgraded it. What did you do, John?
I downgraded it. I thought.
512 gigs, that's too many. I just want
much.
1.
Like right now I have, let's see, I've got Hogwarts on there. I don't remember what games I've installed on there now, but I don't have very many games installed on there. Usually the games that I'm going to play immediately I'll put on the internal. Everything else will go on the SD card, especially if it's like a 2D game. Like Grounded's on the SD card, runs great, looks no problems, runs on medium settings, gets 60 frames a second. Have a good time with that. But yeah, it's something about being able to have Game Pass games on a handheld that is super sweet because, just my saves just download from the cloud. I just keep right on going. Same thing on Steam. It's just down.
Have you tried doing Game Pass via cloud on it yet? Because I just not thought of that. If that would work well or not. That'd be interesting to test out. Yeah,
well, and that's like the thing that I put in the chat with you guys this morning. I was downloading that game directly to the internal drive, so I don't know if it's the way it works on this thing or not, but I know on the Steam Deck, whatever write speed your drive has, that's how fast it downloads, because like if you're downloading to an SD card and it's a slow SD card, the download speed will be slow because it's got to write while it's downloading.
Yeah.
This thing, Wi-Fi 6, I was downloading on that internal SSD, it was flying at 600. It was like, holy crap, I've never seen anything down. When I downloaded it to the SD card, it would slow down to about 200, which that's the write speed of the SD card. But still, 200 is nothing to sneeze at.
That's your Forza right there.
Yeah.
That's like a 1/3 of the loading time.
Yeah.
Or like 1/3 of, the one. Something, math, whatever. How that works.
How's it work? I don't know. It's like...
Or phrasing. It's like, it's 1/3, but it's like, which way was I trying to say that? Anyway, it's slower.
Right, yeah it's slower. You said all that to say it was slower.
By a decent amount.
Yeah. But, yeah, it works. It works really well. I like how the power button is the fingerprint reader for Windows, so when I turn it on, it just automatically logs me in. I don't have to put in a PIN number or anything like that.
Yeah, a lot of devices are doing that now, where they're just like, hey, let's just put it in the power button.
Yeah, I like it. That's smart. So, yeah, I'll have to re-download Forza and put it on the internal drive and all that good stuff, which is no big deal. But I will try out Baldur's Gate 3 and let you know how it runs.
Yeah. Man,
and it ran really good on Steam Deck, so if
that was what I was thinking about. Like, I was like, man, maybe I want to play Diablo 4 like on my handheld, but I'm like, well, I barely play my Steam Deck as it is. Like I'm talking like an hour every couple of weeks, maybe. Because it's just not how I game. So, man.
Yeah,
I like having that big display so I can see lots of stuff.
if I wasn't on the road as
Yep,
much
yep.
as I was, this I wouldn't play it much.
Yeah,
but
for you.
this is
Great.
all I play. This is literally what I
There we
play
go,
on
kids.
now. So
That's a solid review.
yeah, I mean that's pretty much what I play on. So, but yeah, it's nice. I am pleasantly surprised by how nice it is.
That's good.
Yeah, it's not perfect, but all the stuff that it does well, it does very well.
Yeah, it does, and I'm sure they seem that they'll be supporting it. They did a live stream today with tips and tricks, and they're saying, hey, we're listening to feedback from people, we're on forums, we're on Reddit, we're on this and that, we're hearing things, and they're working on it. So if they have the support like Steam Deck has the support, then it'll succeed, because I've seen a lot of people on social media pick this thing up this week. So that's a good sign that a lot of people were interested in it. So, but all right, so Eric, what have you been playing? You don't have an Ally to talk about. But that's all right.
I don't. I'm not one of those cool kids. I did think about buying one. I got a little bit of something going on, good stuff, and I was like, oh man, maybe I'll buy one. But like I said, I don't play my Steam Deck that much.
Right.
So I have just been playing Diablo 4. That's it. I still need to RMA my external hard drive back for my Xbox. I'm sitting downstairs in a box, so I had to take everything off my external hard drive and put it on the internals. So the SD card, the SSD expansion card, and the internals. I delete a lot of crap. But I was like, this is gonna suck. I only put the stuff on there that's like super crucial stuff I really want to play in the next like month, because I don't know the RMA for Western Digital. They said it might take a couple months, and I was just using that external just for OG Xbox and 360.
Gotcha.
And I was stored like a few small next gen games on it, but nothing big. I didn't want to sit there, transfer it back,
Right.
So anyway, that was mocking me when I got home from my trip. But yeah, Diablo 4, lots of it. I was torn between getting it, on PS5 or PC or even Xbox. I thought about it. I was like, where am I going to play it the most? I'm going to play PS5 the most, I think. Even though there's cross-play, it doesn't really matter. I could play it on my PC, but my brother said the controller support's pretty good on PC, so I was like, okay, well, I want to play with the controller if I can. Nine times out of 10.
It works great. I mean, I bought it on PC, but I was playing it on Steam Deck, and of course, you had to go through little hoops to get it on Steam Deck. But once I got it there, it was running at like 45, 50 frames a second. The controllers work great, things like that.
I'm still like in the first area, but I'm like level 16. I got a level 16 rogue and like a level 15 necro. I didn't really know, so one of my friends is like a druid, the other guy's a sorcerer. I'm like, well, I kind of want to try the druid, the necromancer, but I did not like when people were talking about the rogue. Like, oh, it's too squishy, it dies. But I was like, wait, it says it's also good for co-op, and we're like, they're all good. But like the necromancer is the best for a solo player, honestly. Right. People are like, hands down. I'm like, okay, but I want to play with my buddies. And so I was like, all right, I'll try the rogue. Here's what I like. The rogue is incredibly fast. It deals a crap ton of damage, and it can get away very quickly. You'll be tearing through stuff. Massive AoE crowd control, right? The necro's good. They're interesting. I like summoning up the minions, stuff like, back in the day, Diablo 2. I like the necromancer a lot. But I've died more with the necromancer. I'm playing on the same difficulty, just different play style. Because necromancer, in like a dungeon, plow through all the minions, here comes the boss. The boss kills all my minions. It just sits there. I'm screwed because you'll hit it with like bone shards and stuff, and I'm like, this is taking forever. Rogue, destroy. Yeah. So druid's supposed to be pretty cool too. I was gonna maybe try that a little bit. Yeah. I have no interest in the barbarian. I've played barbarian before. It's fine, but it's just beefy tank class.
Right.
I want something, and there's nothing wrong with barbarian. It's just not my play style.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. Necromancer was what I was using. It was.
They're fun.
Yeah.
Did you? I summoned. I got like the second kind of skeleton. I'm using like the whirlwind one. That's kind of cool. I use that. I'm excited to try the golem too when I can get that.
Yeah.
So see what that's like. It's not bad.
How many classes are in Diablo 4 right now?
Five.
Five?
Yeah, 5.
I mean, there really hasn't been the Rogue. Wasn't the Rogue in Diablo 1? Nathaniel, you played Diablo 1, right?
Maybe briefly, the one I played the most was 2. So
The
I don't
Rogue is
remember much
I
from
don't
1.
and so the Rogue, like I'm like, I don't think that's really been because we've had an Amazon, we've had a Paladin, we've had Druids, we've had Necromancers, Sorcerers, we've always had a Barbarian. So and the Rogue has like you can play with the Rogue, you can do like traps. I was watching this video of this guy like getting enemies to come after him, and then he's just like throwing in this hallway of traps and just screwing them. I thought that was kind of cool, but now I'm going for like a AOE build on the Rogue. Oh, see what I've been playing something else too. I totally forgot to put on the list. I'm almost done with Dead Island 2. I have like 3 story missions left. It's not that long. It's probably like 20 hours maybe. You could probably fly through the story. The side quest stuff is mostly to like unlock lore and interesting weapons. So it's a good co-op game. Like I said before, I saw it on sale. I think GameFly had it used for like $35 recently, and I'm like, all right, that's a decent price. Like that's if I wasn't a fan of the series, I could recommend it at 35.
Yeah.
I almost bought Atomic Heart too. It's on sale for 30.
That's on Game Pass. I'm going to download
It's like
it.
it's on Game
I
Pass.
have it on Game Pass. I'm like a third of the way through, but I'm like, well, my luck with Game Pass games, I start them, I forget to finish them, I go back to play them. I'm like, crap.
Oh,
I got
gotta
taken
buy
off
it.
Game
Yeah.
Pass. Oh man, there's at least one game where I had a pretty good save going. I was like, dang it, I should have played this sooner. Oh well.
Yeah, it's on my list to play, and I haven't.
Diablo, it runs pretty good.
Yep.
I haven't tried the crossplay yet. I'll probably try it with my brother first from PC to PS5, but it looks good. It feels like Diablo. I was getting frustrated because I'm like, wait, aren't I supposed to be able to attack with my weapon, like my main weapon? I'm like, well, I should be able to. I'm like, oh wait, that's not right. That's not how it works in this game. Your skills go to your weapon. So I'm like, why can't I shoot my bow as this rogue? I'm like, oh wait, because I don't have any skills set for it. It was funny. It made me chuckle for like 10 minutes. I'm like, I'm not stupid. I'm rusty. I haven't played Diablo 3 in I don't know, not since the Ultimate Edition was on PS4. So it's probably been what 5 years. 4 or 5 years. It's been a while.
So, yeah, it's been a while.
I like Diablo 3 I had it on PC, and I beat it like twice, and then I kind of stopped playing. I just got like a little bit bored with it, maybe.
Yeah,
hopefully there's enough content. Are you playing on the easy, or are you playing on hard? Sorry, not hard. Are you playing the medium level?
Whatever the normal is, whatever it started out as. I
tried the other one. I wanted to see what the loot was like, see if things were a little bit tougher, and they're not really. If you're familiar with it, you can handle it.
Yeah,
just kind of watch yourself a little bit. Don't get overwhelmed.
Right. Yeah, I've got to re-download it tonight to get it back on the Ally.
Oh no! If my main co-op buddy hadn't picked Sorcerer, I was gonna try that. I was like, man, I just want to rain destruction, just mow through things. Oh well, I got lots of time.
Oh yeah. I mean, that's the thing.
I think I will play with the Druid a little bit.
That's what you do with Diablo. You play through it once, and then you play through it again with a different character and a different character. That's Diablo. I mean, yeah, you play it over and over and over and over and over again. So, but yeah, there's a lot of. I picked it up, played it on the early. I did the early thing so I could play it 4 days early, and that's really the last time I played it.
It was interesting to read about.
I had time then.
It was interesting to read about the notes from the beta too, about how people were like, "Oh, I think the Druid was just terrible during the beta," and it was interesting to see that now people are like, "Okay, now it's not bad. We made some changes, but we're gonna get. I bet this month we're gonna get a couple patches to kind of like maybe even things out a little bit." So that'll be interesting.
Yeah, I'm sure. I mean, this is Blizzard's fastest selling game ever. I mean, it's they're going to start cranking out patches right and left here before long.
Do you think they're going to have another store like they had in 3, where you could like sell your stuff for real money? Remember the auction house?
Mm-hmm.
That was crazy.
Yeah, I don't know if they will or not. It wouldn't surprise me. I mean, who knows? Who knows? I mean, I can't even fathom what they may do with the thing because it's just so popular. Everybody's playing. Everybody's playing. Yeah. It's ridiculous.
It's just a cash cow. I'm glad it's good. I'm enjoying myself. It's fun. And I was like last night. I was like, oh man, I can't wait to get home today. Hopefully, I'm not too tired. Play a little bit Diablo. like Thursday night, I got it. I played for 5 hours. I don't play games for that long, but I was just hooked. I had to try everything.
Yeah, no, I didn't have time to play it that much when I got it. It was like I played it for a couple days and then things started rolling and it was like, well, no more Diablo for me for now. And then I put it on the Ally and played it the other night for an hour or so. I went, yep, runs good. I need to it. Now I need to re-download it again. So.
Cool. Yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, well,
that's it. Not too much.
Once I get it downloaded again, I know I'll start playing it like crazy.
Yeah,
so.
we can maybe we could do some co-op or something. I guess it's pretty easy to level too. I'm like I said, I'm flying, but even my brother, who hasn't had much longer than me, he's already like 31. He hasn't put hardly any time into it.
Yeah, seems like leveling's pretty easy. So from what I hear, so cool. All right, well, we got lots of game showcases to talk about. I guess the big one that we'll talk about first is the Xbox one.
They jumped out the gate with Fable, and that was fun.
Yep.
Ooh, yeah,
But who knows when we'll play that game?
Yeah, I know. It does
it's gonna be a few years.
It does look cool though. It really does. I know.
At least this time it's more of like actual like game looking to it versus the first trailer a couple years ago was just kind of a CG thing.
Yeah.
And it was funny, so there's that.
Yeah, and that's what everybody kept saying. That's not gameplay. I'm like, yeah, it is. It says on the screen, this is in game.
Well,
this is not a CG
in engine, but like the only stuff that's like quote unquote gameplay is kind of in the middle for a few shots, but most of it's not. It's more like in-game cutscene.
Yeah, but
stuff.
it's not a. It wasn't a CG trailer. It was like everybody thought it was. Did anybody notice how Avowed kind of changed the way it looked? It didn't.
I love how Avowed looks.
Yeah, I do too.
I think it's better.
I do
too. It fits more into, if you've never played Pillars of Eternity, it fits more with that a little bit now, I think.
I know a lot of people online afterwards were like, wait a minute. Did they change the way Avowed looked? Yes, they did.
Lots of games do that over development. Yeah.
Yeah, I think for the better.
I like how all the magic looked. Like all the different spells they showed off had like really cool kind of colors and stuff that looked nice.
Yeah, I liked it a lot. I hope they stick because it said 2024 on it, didn't it? Yeah.
So we have a big old window of 2024. We'll see when. I would suspect later in the year.
And that's fine. I hope it comes out next year. Yeah. I don't care if it comes out in December. I just hope it comes out next year. I really want to play that game.
Me too.
Looks really, really cool.
It's Obsidian, so their writing hopefully is going to be just as good as their previous games.
Yep. I liked the BioShock Infinite 2 game. Oh wait, Clockworks Revolution. That was
that looked kind of cool.
It did look cool though. I mean, it looked really, really cool.
It definitely has that same kind of vibe to the design of the city for sure.
Yeah, the guns look cool too. So I'm definitely interested in that.
Yeah, I am too.
Time-bending steampunk action RPG.
Yeah, I'm all for that. So,
I think that one is coming in due time. So it's all another ways off game.
And that's fine. Let them take their time with it. I want it to be good.
Yeah, that trailer looked nice. So they've got like a nice kind of hook for the game, and it looks good. So as long as they can execute on it, I think that'll be a cool looking game.
Yeah, I do too. Let's see. Of course, there's Forza. We already knew about that. Some updates to Flight Simulator.
Well, it's new and update. So they had Flight Simulator 2024. It's like, hey, you want to do all these things like rescue ops and lowering antennas and putting out forest fires? You can.
Yeah,
and then also the
Dune thing. I can't remember the name of it.
I was trying to remember the name of the actual ship, but yeah, the Dune like dragonfly looking ship is coming to the current Flight Simulator when the movie comes out later this year.
Yeah, that looked cool. Showed a little bit of Hellblade 2. I don't know.
They basically had a scene and it was like instead of action-y, it was a little bit more of just like the whole voices speaking to you stuff like the first game. And
I guess good. I guess I really need to play the first game. I never played.
Oh, you do. So, I've played the first game twice. It's really, really good. I'm looking forward to Hellblade 2.
Yeah, I've dabbled in the first one a little bit, but I definitely want to play it.
Yeah, I guess I need to download it and play it.
I'll just be interested to see how Hellblade 2 changes based on them now having a much bigger budget and all the stuff that comes with being under Microsoft now, because they're definitely upping all the graphics for sure.
Yeah.
But I'm wondering if it'll be like a much longer game, because the first one isn't a super long game either.
Yeah, it's pretty short. You can finish it in a weekend.
Not too bad.
Like under 10
Probably,
hours.
yeah. Like it's not too bad. Like
Then I
it
need to
depends.
play
Like it depends on how stuck you get in a couple areas with some like puzzly stuff. But yeah, no, it's not a super long game.
That South of Midnight trailer looked kind of cool.
Oh, that looked awesome. I have no idea what kind of game that is.
I don't know.
Yeah, because the trailer doesn't tell us much.
They did some little bit of frame chopping on it to make it look like stop motion animation, which looked really cool.
Yeah. Let's see, what else was there before we get to Starfield?
I mean, there's a bunch of like smaller games and like all the games that they had that weren't Xbox first party stuff too.
The new Yakuza game looks pretty cool. Apparently it's going to be in the Hawaii. I guess that's where they
is. I don't know. Is that supposed to be the next like full game? Is that like some weird side game? It's hard to tell from that. It was just a funny trailer of like, oh no, Ichiban woke up on the beach naked and didn't realize it, and everyone's screaming at him. And then we're gonna have all the different things in front of the camera to like block it.
That's crazy.
It was a fun trailer.
Yeah, it was. It was really good. The Cyberpunk expansion, they had that trailer.
I'm super excited for that.
I need to finish that game.
That's means it's gonna be like Blood and Wine, where it's like a big, full-on, huge expansion. But also, they've talked about it a little bit. They're not going into like super detail, but there's a lot of changes coming to the full game when the expansion comes. That's not just the expansion, like redone cop system, new perks, something else as well that I'm forgetting, but like a few, just like big, just main, how the game plays kind of thing beyond what they've already done to that game. So I'm definitely planning on replaying it until I saw all the other games that are also coming out within like there's so many games, like one per week, just like bam, 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 bam. It was like, maybe I won't replay all of Cyberpunk because it's not short.
No, it is not.
And if it's a beefy expansion, that itself won't be short either. So who knows?
Well, and then Sea of Thieves might drag me back in with the Legend of Monkey Island added to it. I might play that, see what that's like, because me and Nikki never did finish, which we might do that since it's summertime and she actually has time. We never finished the Pirates of the Caribbean stuff. We got about halfway through it and then school started. So, but she doesn't have any attachment to Monkey Island, but I do.
Monkey Island,
like play that.
I mean, that's a perfect fit. So there you go.
Absolutely. When it first said Lucasfilm, I was like, or LucasArts, I was like, wait a minute, they're not going to put like Indiana Jones or Star Wars in it. And I was like, oh, Monkey Island. Why did I think of Monkey Island? How could I have forgot about Monkey Island? It was literally pirates. It's like
Yarg.
But yeah, I haven't played Sea of Thieves in a long time, so that might be something to bring me back. Just scrolling through because there's so much.
They had the 2 Persona-related games that leaked before, but they have a Persona 3 remake and then the Persona 5 Tactics game, Tactica.
Yeah.
Which looks pretty cool. It's kind of like chibi versions of the characters. It's like, let's do like a Fire Emblem style gameplay.
Yeah.
That's what that looks like.
That's unique. It'd be cool.
I don't know why this story on Xbox, why they always put these in such random orders. Like, I get it, but just put them in the order of the showcase, because Star Wars Outlaws was like the second thing that they showed, and it's way down here on this list.
Well, and really they showed that trailer they showed was really cool, but the gameplay, the 10-minute gameplay.
Well, we'll get to that later, because it was very much like a big old flashy kind of CG trailer, and it's like, hey, well, tomorrow we'll have gameplay, so it's like, that was cool.
Yeah. There was Payday. There was actually some Capcom games that they announced. I thought the one, what's it called? The Path of the Goddess. I actually thought that was like Okami or something like that when I first saw it. I thought.
Yeah, I'm not sure what kind of game that is, but it looked pretty.
Yeah, it did. And to see a Capcom game, release day one on Game Pass. Let no one say that Microsoft is not trying to get the fans of Japanese games on Game Pass.
Overall, well, at least people who like Persona.
Yeah.
Because it's all Persona related. Even the thing that's technically not Persona is done by the people behind Persona.
Right, yeah.
There's like only two strikes in
Jonah?
this whole entire showcase for me. One, Fallout 76. That was really stupid. It's like, hey, this still exists. By the way, we're having a new thing. Oh, but by it's like the
Right.
new thing was just like 5 seconds about it. And it's like that was dumb. And then Overwatch 2 was a big swing and a miss because you're just like,
Yeah.
hey, you just cancel all of this PvE stuff that everybody was excited for, and then you have this coming out, and then you're all trying to say that there's PvE stuff, and it's just like, come on.
Yeah, that really disappointed me. I really wanted to play that PVE stuff on there. That would have made me, and I would have bought it. If they would have charged for it, I would have bought it to play it. But oh well, whatever. And then Starfield, of course.
They had but first we have the hardware announcement.
Oh yes, the 1 terabyte.
The Series S is back in black.
Yeah.
Woo!
I mean,
What
that's
does
cool.
the original S Series S have? Is it 512?
512.
It's 512,
Yeah,
and
it's
it's white.
512.
So they kind of doubled it.
And it's white. Yeah, they just doubled it, made it black, and that's cool. I mean,
Man, I need 512 megs more space. I gotta get me one. I'm good. I'm good. I'm good.
Yeah.
And I bet. I don't know. The Series S has been pretty easy to find recently, so I wonder if.
I
this
tell you
thing
what,
will
when I went
plop up
to
sales.
Best Buy in Canton, Ohio, to pick up
Ah, yeah.
a case for the case. That was the only place I could find it when I was out. All the other Best Buys were sold out of it. The Best Buy I was in, when I checked out, they keep all the systems behind the counter in a little room, and you could look back there and see them. They had 15 PlayStation 3s and 20 Series X's, and I don't know how many Series S's.
I
have
mean 15
never,
PlayStation
or
5s.
PlayStation
five.
5s. What did
I
I
was
say?
gonna say
PlayStation
three.
Box,
3?
you said three.
Why would they
Well,
have three?
I still
I can
had
maybe see a 4, like a PlayStation 4, maybe, but a 3, that'd be like, wait, what are you doing?
I had
It was all sealed, 60 gigabyte ones too.
I had Persona 3 here on the screen, and I looked over and saw P3,
that makes
and
sense,
that
yeah.
made and I had PlayStation 3 stuck in the brain.
I see where your brain went.
yeah.
I get it.
see it.
So, but yeah, I mean, that was the most PlayStation 5s and Series X's I've seen in one place at one time. It was like, what is going on? Are we? Yeah, it's like
They're a surplus.
Yeah, I don't know. Was I in a warehouse store? Was this where?
Or maybe you just happened to walk by, like, literally right after they set them there.
Yeah, it could have been. I mean, it was literally the most systems of anybody that I've seen in one place at one time. So if anybody says, I just can't get a hold of one, bullcrap, you're not looking hard enough because they're right there in front of you.
Now you can.
Yeah.
You might have to put a little effort, but not nearly as much as you've had to the last couple of years.
No, sir.
Yeah.
So, Starfield, what did you think of the very, very long, in-depth thing of Starfield?
It was a great presentation because it was like, you see how long it is, you're like, oh, that's just going to get old and boring. But like, they kept the pacing. There's enough entertaining kind of like asides in it.
Yeah.
They bounce between different like employees and different people who have different roles and stuff to explain different things. So I thought that was well put together. I'm more excited to play the game than I was. I was kind of lukewarm, like thinking, oh, it's going to be like a Bethesda game in space, whatever, from what they'd showed before. Now I'm like, okay, I think I'll have some fun with this one. I'm just still like the only thing I still have is my skeptical hat of will it run well or not. That's what we'll wait to see. But just the game itself looks like it should be really cool.
Yeah. Well,
can they nail it?
And you think that's why they've locked it at 30 frames a second on the Xbox? I mean, that's what they said. They said they were going over.
They've done that for literally every single one of their games.
Yeah.
On consoles, it's 30 FPS. So I see why they would do it, and it's one of those things that like performance modes are now kind of a thing, but not everybody does them. So it's just on a game that huge, trying to throw that in there too and optimize all that stuff. I can see why they would just limit it to 30.
Yeah, and I'm fine with that. Because I'll probably, if it'll run on the Ally, that's probably where I'll play it most of the time anyway. So it's probably going to be 30 frames a second anyway when I play it. It's not. It's what I told somebody online the other day. It's like, look, most games I play, I'm playing on a handheld PC game. So it's probably a PC device. So it's probably going to be 30 frames a second anyway.
The only time you'll like notice it is when you get into like a big shootout somewhere and you're trying to fly around. Then you might notice the 30 frames a bit more. But for just like wandering around and then like interacting with people in the city, that kind of stuff, it'd probably be fine. Right. I just think that like it is a monster game from all the stuff that they showed that they've put in there. It's just like so much. Like you can build ships, you can build your like bases. It's like a whole bunch of stuff that they've had in all their previous games, plus the ship building, which is like a mobile base because you have all the different stuff inside of it, and you have companions inside of it. Is way more, a little bit more involved than I was kind of expecting, which is cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's so many people were, it's No Man's Sky. It's just No Man's Sky. That's all it is.
No,
It's No
no.
Man's
It's not, but it does have like similarities because they're trying for similar things, right? So it's not
Right.
like that's a bad thing. Like, come on.
Yeah, I mean, okay. I mean, you could have your take of. They could have their take of No Man's Sky. I mean, you could say that I don't know.
I'd say it's like No Man's Sky had like some of it, the DNA from like what you do in that game is in there, but that's just one small piece of it on top of all the like Bethesda RPG stuff and all the other
Right.
things that No Man's Sky doesn't have. So it's like that's one small piece of it. There's other games you could like. I'm like, yeah, it's similar to that too, maybe, but who cares?
And it's got a story to it that No Man's
Yeah,
Sky really
what?
doesn't
Weird.
have. I mean, it's.
I mean, yeah, No Man's Sky has a little bit, but not to this degree.
No. Welcome, Dennis. For those who are
Thank you.
watching the video, Dennis has just dropped in. For those who
He
are
finally,
listening,
Yeah, I was
Whipped
in
all
one of
his
the many planets
devices
of
and
Star
power
Trek.
into shape.
yeah. We were just wrapping up talking about the Xbox showcase. If there's anything, Dennis, that you want to throw in there on it before we let you talk about what you've been playing and stuff, we can go back to that, or we can go back to it at the end, however you want to do it. But
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, no, I mean, I'll touch up on it and we can continue on. But I mean, I watched it. I thought it was a great showcase. I will say, I think, and they've always really had a problem with this compared to other showcases. Is there's even though they showed great content, especially a lot of content that was not only diverse in genre but stuff that I'm like really interested in also, but admittedly, despite all their great content, and I think it went on for just a little bit too long, it got to a point where I was just like,
Heartily disagree.
I do too.
Really?
In fact,
And
I
you know
thought-
why I disagree is because the next day I watched Ubisoft and that one was shorter or at least maybe the same, but it felt like 3 times as long. Like the
Oh, yeah. Well,
pacing
they're
was
good at
so
doing
good at
that,
the
yeah.
Xbox one.
Actually, when the
Yeah,
Xbox
that is true,
one, when the Xbox, I was surprised when the Xbox one ended and they went into Starfield. I thought there was going to be at least another 15 more minutes before they went into the Starfield showcase.
Oh,
You
yeah,
know,
no,
I didn't. I just figured it was going to go straight in.
Yeah. It seemed like, was they not going to talk about this game? Where's this game? Aren't they talking about that? We're going to talk about Starfield now. Okay, no problem. It's fine.
Yeah.
But I don't want they don't want to talk. Microsoft's still trying to find their footing with. We did this. These games are coming out in the next 12 months, and then a bunch of them didn't. So now they're like, well, now we don't want to talk about games too far in the future because we did that 2 years ago. And now we're trying to find this balance of, well, here's a few games that are coming out this year that we know of for sure. Here's a few games that might come out this year but probably won't. They're trying to keep expectations.
They had a good balance. They had a few
Yeah.
that were like, here's some solid dates for like later this year, and then they have a lot of ones that they just did a big window of 2024, which makes sense. Don't narrow it down too much and then have to change it 3 times.
Yeah. But overall, I thought it was great. I came out of it.
It was really good. It was really, really
Yeah.
good.
Enjoyed it.
Same.
And it wasn't like there wasn't any parts of that showcase that I was like, all right, here we go. Then I'm going to tune out this because I don't
Yeah.
care about
Oh,
that.
no.
Except for Fallout 76.
Well, but I like Fallout,
Oh, yeah.
so it was fine.
But like, that's fine, but it was a pointless trailer of nothing.
It was, but
The only thing was like, it was like 5 seconds at the end where they're like, hey, now that we're singing our song and that's done, and we had our fun little vault song of whatever, by the way, there's something new coming. See ya. Like, it's such a weird way to present that.
yeah, it was.
It felt kind of like they did it because they felt they had to. Same with kind of like Elder Scrolls Online. We got to give the update for that. But unlike the Elder Scrolls Online thing, there wasn't as much in the Fallout 76 one to talk about.
Yeah.
So it just felt kind of like, okay, cool, I guess.
Sure, yeah. I guess what we'll jump into next. Did you watch? You said, Nathaniel, you said you watched Summer Game Fest, right?
I did.
Okay.
Yep.
See, literally I saw Microsoft, and then I saw the trailer from the
Because
Ubisoft
Summer
one.
Game
That's all
Fest
I
was
saw.
like the Thursday before, then like Xbox was on Sunday, and then Ubisoft was
Yeah.
Monday, I think.
So,
Those are the ones that I watched.
Nathaniel or Dennis, did you watch Summer Game Fest as well, or?
No, I mean, I was able to go through some highlights and I was keeping up with tweets of things that were happening with Summer Game Fest, but I wasn't able to watch it live. I was at work when that was
Yeah.
happening.
Gotcha.
But I
This
was
is
paying
like
attention
what,
to the tweets though.
the third time they've done Summer Game Fest or the second? I can't remember.
I think this is the second. Maybe
No,
the third.
I want to
Let's
say
see.
third.
No, I
at
think it's the
least.
third because they had
Yeah.
one where it was just like the streams and stuff. Then last year they had like the stream,
Mm.
but they also had like a tiny in-person thing. And then this year they had
Yeah.
a bigger in-person thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go. There's 2021. Yeah, that was the first one. So yeah, this.
Okay.
Yeah, I had
I
to
think
Google
this
it,
is
but-
the best one that they've done, just kind of like pacing wise and what they showed and like the different trailers that they had and all of that. I think it's kind of been better, like also than some of kind of like the Game Awards stuff. So it's all the like Jeff Keighley related things. Sometimes they're good, sometimes they're just like you stretch the pacing out really weird.
Yeah.
But this one, it flowed pretty well. So I think that as far as just like the quality of the showcase goes, it was pretty good. They had some, it wasn't as like high quality as Xbox, I would say, but I'd still say it was at least a solid like B plus or something if you're gonna grade it. But I mean, Nick Cage was there, so that was fun.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
I mean, Nick Cage makes everything better. So, any highlights of anything for you guys out of it? Like I said, because I did
The
not
Prince of
watch
Persia game looks awesome, and that was a
Yeah,
surprise.
that
really
looked
good.
interesting.
That looked
I
really,
was
really
surprised.
it. Yeah.
Lies of P got us an official date, so it's in
a
September
demo.
instead of
Let's play the
August,
demo.
and a demo. I am not
Yeah.
playing the demo because I know I'm playing that game, so I'm just gonna wait till the game
That
comes
demo
out.
was really solid, and this is coming from someone who doesn't really enjoy those types of games. That was a strong demo. That was a really
I love
strong
those
demo.
types of games, and from people
Yeah.
saying that it plays like Bloodborne, I'm like, yes, please, give
The
it to me.
The aesthetic, fantastic in that game. It really is. It's beautiful, like right out the gate, right
Yeah.
when it starts. I mean, I was just like the detail was phenomenal.
But yeah, those are games that I like, you like to get into and get immersed in and just keep going. So if I just play like an hour or two in the demo, then I can't play it till September. I'm like, I'm not doing that. I'm just waiting.
Yeah, that might. Yeah, I can see. You
I'll be
just
like,
in
come
bed, just, like,
on, I
waking
want
up
more
in the middle of the
now.
night, like Liza Pay.
But yeah, I was gonna say
I think what else was in here.
Yeah, I'm
Scrolling
just
through.
kinda
Party
scrolling
Animals
through.
is back again. That game is apparently actually releasing now. I totally forgot that it had not come out yet. Alan Wake 2, I say, would be the biggest thing that I am personally interested in from the Summer Game Fest. They showed some gameplay and are confirmed that there's like 2 playable characters, and it's very much looks like the survival horror game that they've said that they're making. So I can't wait for that to come out
cool.
in October. And then like I'm not necessarily interested in it, but they closed out with Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Is that what it's called? I don't know.
Yeah. The next Final Fantasy VII game, whatever. I think it's Rebirth.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Yeah, I was just trying to make sure I have the right name because there's Final Fantasy other something or else that they had during the show too. And it cracked me up because they have a thing in the trailer that says that it comes on 2 discs because I guess people were wondering if it's going to come on 2 discs. So you put that in your trailer. I don't know. Sure.
Yeah, I thought that was a weird thing to put on there.
Something that's. Yeah, I don't really personally find that something.
Like, is that a
worth
selling
marketing,
point?
and,
Like,
yeah, that's not a selling point.
I guess
Yeah,
that
to me,
means-
woo, there's lots of stuff, lots of the graphics. It fits on only 2 discs.
I mean, I guess it's the whole game instead of like releasing one disc with half the game and you download the rest of it. I guess. I mean, maybe that's a
I guess.
bragging point.
But it's I don't know, but it just sort of drives me crazy that for every next gen leap that we take, there's these old ways that end up still coming back somehow.
Yeah.
We should have left multiple discs long time ago, and now here we are with games getting bigger once again to the point where we need multiple discs again, and it's just like. I don't know.
Just
It's
wait
like,
till
it's
they
this
finally
never-ending
finish
cycle.
Final Fantasy VII in however many different like games they have to do to finish just
yeah, I
the
know.
one game from the past,
Yeah.
and then they're gonna release the whole like collective at once, and it's gonna be on like 20 discs or something dumb.
Yeah, it's gonna look like the Warner Brothers 100th anniversary like box set probably. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's gonna be.
It'll
ridiculous.
come with like a custom disc changers that you plug into your like PlayStation.
Yeah, see, and then those are gonna start coming back.
Oh boy.
Those are gonna get back in style. Like cassettes are gonna be back on, like Tesla's gonna start putting cassette tapes in their cars. It's gonna be ridiculous.
That's great. I got a lot of cassette tapes, so I bring them back. I got some.
Yeah.
I put a link to the PC game show in here. Did anybody actually watch it? I did not get to see it.
Nope.
And
I skimmed through the list and I was like, yep, no, there was no reason for me to watch that. I'm glad that I have, again, chosen to ignore their way too long show that's paced so slowly.
That list of games that they is enormous on there. I mean,
it caters to a very specific crowd of like hardcore PC gamers, but even like hardcore PC gamers, that's not going to target all of them. There's a lot of people who'd be like whatever. They don't ever have any like big marquee gets like a lot of the other showcases do. So it's kind of just like, here's a bunch of things you may have heard of, half of them cool, which, more power to them. They're successful enough that they keep doing this show. So
yeah,
just not for me.
No. So the Ubisoft Forward, like
Ubisoft backwards. What? That showcase felt like it was pulled out of time from like a decade ago with just what they were doing in it. It felt like, hey, no, there really was an E3, and this is a stage somewhere.
Well, hey,
it's so weird. They have to have it so they can have their start dancers for doing Just Dance at the start of their showcase.
I suppose, yeah.
Can't be pre-recorded. You have to have it awkward because you got to have the audience in a bunch of chairs.
Do they not take in feedback? Because people have been saying the same thing for years and years, and they keep doing the same nonsense for years and years, and it's like that. It's never any good.
They were also doing this weird thing where they would show basically like a CG trailer, like the whole like hype trailer type style of trailer, then like talk about a game for a while on stage, whether it's just the host or then also maybe one of the devs comes out and talks about their game for several minutes and then goes into another trailer or gameplay demo. And it's just like, guys, you could consolidate this a little bit better and it would be a much better presentation.
Yeah, right. Absolutely. I guess really the big game that was the Star Wars Outlaws, like we said. I didn't watch the show, but I watched that 10-minute trailer when I saw a gameplay trailer. I was like, okay, I gotta watch that.
That's the only reason why I watched the showcase, and they put it at the end. Of course they didn't.
Oh, see, I didn't. I was working. I came home that night and went, oh, there's a 10-minute. All right, let me get dinner while I'm watching this. And
yeah,
I can't wait. I can't wait for this game. It looks really cool.
Awesome. Yeah, it's supposed to be 2024. And they showed a lot more of it too than I was expecting. So like maybe it's early 2024, but I would guess probably late 2024.
I'm guessing, yeah. But this is the Star Wars game I've kind of been wanting for a while. Not that Jedi Survivor and Fallen Order aren't good games. This kind of. It looks open world.
It's kind of like Star Wars, the Star Wars underworld with like bounty hunters and all that stuff. We haven't really got that in a game, and we've had like one or two that were like started and then got canceled, and everyone was sad about it.
Yeah, and it's all it's not. I'm sure there will be cameos of characters in there that that everybody knows and loves, but.
Well, there already was one in the trailer.
Right, in the trailer. But, it's like these are new characters that we don't know anything about, and in a time period. Because what is it? It's between
Empire and Jedi.
So, that's cool. And one of the characters that popped up in there, that was...
In fact, I know it's between Empire and Jedi because the trailer has Han Solo and Carbonite being pushed away. Duh.
Well, and they didn't say the one dude where she walked into the ship and the dude was sitting there. That is, they didn't come out and say it, but that is the dude that was in Shadows of the Empire that took place between.
Dash Rendar?
I'm telling you, that was Dash Rendar.
Boom! I didn't even watch the trailer.
That's not the name, because they did have a name.
Did they have a name on him? See, I didn't even hear the name on him. So
I just don't remember off the top of my head. I'd have to rewatch it. But
I'd have to rewatch it too. But because afterwards I got to thinking about it, I'm like, is that not the dude from Shadows of the Empire? I mean, he looked a lot like
Big Lebowski. Wait, no, wrong thing.
Wrong thing. But
No,
yeah,
that looks awesome, and it's a Ubisoft game that looks like, hey, the people making this game wanted to make this game and were feeling creative when they were doing it and were happy, as opposed to, and this might just be me bringing baggage into it, the Avatar game that they showed looks like they were so bored and they just have the license and they're just like, hey, we reskinned Far Cry for some reason because everybody wants to do a first-person like Avatar game. Like, no, like who wanted that to be a first person shooter sort of y thing? Like that game does not make sense to me, but
no, it
whatever. Like I know why you would make that game. I just don't know why you would make this version of that game.
doesn't. Yeah. So anything else from there? The Assassin's Creed Mirage, it looks good.
I mean, it looks kind of like it has looked before, so
Yep.
cool. I probably will not be playing it right away because there's too many games in October.
Yeah, I know, right?
They had people come on stage and sing a shanty type song thingy, or well, not a shanty, but like a song about Skull and Bones. So
Yeah.
that game technically still exists.
Yeah, I mean, and I played the closed alpha beta for it on PC, a couple months ago, and it was, I mean,
Hey, guess what? They're having another one in like August, I think.
Yeah.
So still not coming out
Yeah,
for a while.
I
So,
mean, what I played of it, and I know there's an NDA in this stuff, but I don't care. It's it seemed pretty. I mean, like they
well, they
could have
had
released
full-on
it.
gameplay videos
Yeah,
come
I
out of
mean-
it before, and it's just like, okay, yeah, you just made a Sea of Thieves like game that's
Yeah.
not cartoony, and that's pretty much what you did. But apparently, you didn't do it very well, or something's
I don't
keeping it
know.
from coming out.
I don't get what's keeping it from, because like I said, from the what I
because
played
it's
of it,
Ubisoft. That's
I
my
guess.
guess.
I mean, from what I've played of it, it's like, okay, why is this game not out? I mean, it feels fully fleshed out. It feels, it felt good. It felt finished. It just, I was like, okay, why are we still playing this in a weird
I mean, a
alpha
lot of people
stage?
did not like it with the thing, and they got a bunch of feedback on it that they're changing. Who
I
knows?
guess.
Like,
I don't know.
plus, like that game started out as like what? Like, was it from? How old was that? I don't remember when they first announced it, but this game has been around for so
Yeah,
long,
it's
and it's
been
probably
around
had
a
at least
while.
3 or 4 different versions of it before what it is now. So like, it's
Watch,
just
it's gonna end
cursed.
up turning into another Persona game probably at this
It
point.
has the
Many
pirate
renditions.
curse. It has the pirate curse, and that's why it hasn't come out. There we go.
Yeah, sure, that'll work. Works for me.
It'll turn into a JRPG.
Yeah. So what was this Assassin's Creed in China thing that I was hearing about? I still haven't had time to. It's like some free. They talk about it here. Codename Jade. They talked about it there.
Well,
Did
they've
you-
talked about Codename Jade before. I
Oh,
don't
that was a
remember.
while
It was
ago.
very small. They also showed like an Assassin's Creed VR thing, but that wasn't that, and it looked
No.
fine.
They've really been pushing the Assassin's Creed Jade. I've seen it on social
I mean,
media. and I
honestly,
don't
they
know
need to
what-
shut the heck up because they keep talking about all these Assassin's Creed projects that they have planned that are so many years out that you're just like, I'm already tired of it before we even know what it is.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like looking at like the MCU timeline, and it's just like them just shoving down a movie that doesn't come out until like 2026 down your throats, and it's just like, wait, y'all haven't even started filming. There's probably not even a script. Stop talking about it. It's like I don't
Yeah.
care about.
Maybe
seeing a
put out
logo
like a
over and
couple
over.
of year roadmap. Don't do a decade roadmap. Just stop.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, so weird.
Because things will change. It's guaranteed because it's
Oh,
a
yeah.
decade, guys. It's a long time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's all the ones that I touched on. I know there was a whole lot more, but there was a lot of them I didn't have time to watch. I didn't get to watch the Devolver one or anything like that. So
I started watching it and then it wasn't weird enough, so I stopped watching it.
More
And I was
weird.
like,
That's what
okay,
we
I'll
need.
look up the trailers instead of watching this whole thing.
yeah. So I put in. I just put in the ones that I thought would be interesting. But yeah,
I mean, these
there
are the
was-
major ones.
Yeah, there was so much. There was so much to talk about that way, but
I mean, it's almost like
Lots of
E3
games.
was here, even
Yeah.
though it's not. Yeah.
Yeah.
But showcase-wise, they all happened in the same week, just like it would if there was an E3. So
yep, pretty much. So, all right, Dennis, go ahead and talk about the games. Games what you've been playing. We'll touch on those
all the games.
before we go.
Yeah. Well, I'll get through the smaller ones first. So, Layers of Fear actually just came out yesterday. It is basically it's a new but not really new Layers of Fear. For anyone who played the original Layers of Fear, which came out, I think I want to say in either 2016 or 2017. It's basically a remake of that, which I know was the intention originally when
I
they
was
started working
reading
on
it was
this.
both.
It was both.
Like when I was like looking it up, I was like, "What is Layers of Fear 2023?" before the show because I
Yeah.
wasn't sure, and I was like,
Yeah.
it's something that said it was both Layers of Fear and Layers of Fear 2 remade as this. But
Yeah.
I
So
that's me doing a quick Google search for 5 seconds. So yeah, I wasn't sure
yeah.
if that is correct or not.
It's weird. Like it's not wrong per se. It's so weird how they've compiled this because it's like a remake, but at least it's definitely a remake for the first game. The other two that are compiled are sort of remastered, but also told in sort of quote unquote snippets. Because now what the main story is you're playing as this writer. When you start the game, you wake up in this lighthouse and you're playing as this writer. But then when the writer starts to write, it's the story of the painter, right, from the first game. And then so that you're playing heavily, and then you'll kind of periodically come out of the first game to go back into the lighthouse and experience some scary stuff that the writer's going through, and then she'll eventually just go back and start writing, and then you'll continue playing the first game all over again. And then once you're done with that, you have access to other books that she's written, and I guess she's also written the actor and the musician, and then so that also includes the DLC from the first one, which is Inheritance, and then the second one when you're on a ship, and that's about the actor and whatnot, and it's the whole thing is just so oddly compiled to me. Just because it's like it's almost like it's a Layers of Fear collection that is sort of meshed together to give you this new experience because they've found a way to weave it all together while also inserting a new story of the writer, and then the writer is the one that's responsible for all the prior Layers of Fear, I guess. So it's interesting how it's done. Again, it almost feels like a collection that is, again, a remake, but nothing felt particularly new. There was only one new thing, especially with the original, that I don't remember happening when it first came out, where you get this light now, and you can I guess defend yourself against enemies and uncover little like treasures and stuff. So like you'll find these little orbs and blobs and stuff. You can take this little spirit lamp that you have and then just sort of lock it on this gooey type of darkness material, and eventually it'll explode and you can collect whatever's in there. I don't remember that being in the original Layers of Fear, so that was a sort of new mechanic they threw in, and the enemies I guess added a little more tension because I mean, honestly, the first Layers of Fear was pretty much a walking simulator, and I mean, and now that I think about it, they all in a way sort of are. They started implementing more puzzle elements later on to add more gameplay, but for the most part, that first one especially was just really just a walking simulator. But now this one felt like more because of the mechanics and things you could do. You could pick up things, and there were a lot more keys. So there was definitely more gameplay to it. So they, that felt new and refreshing. Um, but uh, but yeah, it wasn't bad. It was it came out officially yesterday. I got a code for it about 2.5, 3 weeks ago, and it was fine. It was fine. I mean, I've always loved Layers of Fear since the beginning, and I love Bloober Team. They're probably one of my favorite developers, especially horror developers. Everything they've put out for the most part has been pretty solid. They make some questionable choices, but I still think Observer is still their top tier, game. But I really liked Blair Witch a lot, and super excited to see what they end up doing with the Silent Hill 2 remake. Because I mean, if there's anyone that can do a great job with that, it's them. And I liked the Medium too. The Medium was interesting. So, um, but uh, but yeah, they're a really really talented team. But this just felt like a weird remake compilation that again, it was clever how they did it, And if you haven't played Layers of Fear before, I think this is the one to play. Because again, it feels like a definitive compilation that sort of ties them all together. But also, it wouldn't be bad if you're new to Layers of Fear to kind of go back and experience them one by one as standalone experiences, because that way you're not too distracted. Because even though it was cleverly weaved, it was still me personally, because I've already played those games so many times, I would have just preferred a standalone experience of that lighthouse and playing with the writer and seeing her story. So having to constantly, play a little bit of the first one, come out of it, play a little bit of the second one, come out of it, just because, she's taking a break from writing and then she's sort of doing her own thing for a little bit. So, it felt very jarring, because again, these were completely different atmospheres when you went into each one. Like each Layers of Fear does a very good job at feeling different. They have their own aesthetic, they have their own feel to it. It still feels very Layers of Fear because Bloober Team has that sort of DNA into it. But yeah, I think I would have appreciated it more as a standalone Layers of Fear experience rather than just like here's the director's cut basically of all three put into one. But overall it's a solid experience, and the remake is beautiful because I think this is it is an Unreal Engine 5 if I'm not mistaken, so it's one of the slowly but surely, we're starting to see games sort of shipped out in the engine since it's still fairly new. But Layers of Fear, yeah, was rebuilt from the ground up through Unreal Engine 5, and it's beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Played it on Xbox Series X, and runs great, looks fantastic, and yeah, I was impressed with it. But again, it just depends on how you want to absorb your content. Again, I think I would have preferred it if I could just experience the writer and the lighthouse as a standalone experience versus having to weave it into the other games. But credit where credit's due. I think a lot of people complain that you're paying a lot of money for these Layers of Fear games, that because I think they've all been roughly around $30, and they're not long games, they're like 2 to 3 hours. But now this one, since it sort of weaves it all in, I mean, you're getting an 8-hour experience, anywhere between 7-8 hour experience now for the same price. So it just depends on how you want to absorb your content. Do you want to do it all in one go, or would you prefer these standalone experiences? So it's depends on how you look at it. But overall, it's Layers of Fear. It's more Layers of Fear, and if you liked it before, you'll still like it now. So it's not much different from how it was before. But yeah, in addition to that, I've been playing Loop 8. Summer of Gods. That was playing on Nintendo Switch. I played that for about 2 weeks, and it's that game is beautiful. Like everything about that game. This is gonna sound weird. Everything about that game was good except for the game itself. Like it's now let me explain. The visuals top tier. Okay, the music top tier. The aesthetic, the atmosphere, the even the mechanics of the game all top tier. Except for one thing, is the reason why it's called Loop 8 is because it's constantly, you have to essentially reset your timeline over and over again, almost in like a Majora's Mask style, before you eventually, can go through it, because the world's gonna end and you have to keep it from happening. And but you're not going to do that on your first playthrough, so you have to keep resetting and resetting and resetting, and it becomes this tedious process because the game, for as many resets as you have to do, I don't think the game was thought out enough to accommodate for as many resets as you're doing, because the dialogue's repetitive, what you're going to be doing is repetitive, your tasks and stuff, and it just gets really, really annoying having to do the same things over and over again, because how the game affects your skill is really interesting, because it's not your typical let's go out and grind and level up, right? Level 1 and then make it all the way up to level 100. Have to beat 50 enemies, and let me get my defense up, my attack up. Let me get new armor, things like that. It's not like that at all in this game. Instead, how you increase your stats is actually through your bonds. Your relationships are incredibly important in this game. So when you talk to someone and you compliment them, or you say, hey, let's go hang out, and then you go to a cafe or something, if they're really happy, there's 3 main moods you go through. You go through what is essentially happiness, anger, and sadness. And And depending on how you affect those moods will affect the stats. So, you bring someone out to a cafe, let's just say it affects their happiness. If they like coffee, if they don't like coffee, if it's 45, that means now they have more vitality. So they'll have more life, or if their anger goes up, and it's not a bad thing if their anger goes up, because again, all of these increase stats. If their anger goes up, their attack goes up, and so on and so forth. So it's really interesting how it's done, and that's how you sort of quote unquote grind, if you will, is by those daily tasks that you do. Making sure you talk to people, making sure that you give them gifts, making sure that you do activities with them before you eventually end up going out to save the planet or whatever from these invasion of species, these demons called Kigai, I think they're called, and but man, the aesthetic is fantastic because it takes place in the early 1980s in Japan. It's a fictional part of Japan, so it's a not a real city. It's called Ashihara, I think, and it reminds me so much of movies like The Girl Who Leapt Through Time and just some older like Studio Ghibli films, and just how beautifully done it is. It's so that game can be really relaxing if you want it to be, and it makes you feel nostalgic for something that's never personally happened to you. It does a very, very good job at channeling those feelings. And but man, it's that reset nonsense that honestly kills the game for me. And if that game had been more methodical in how it handled its resets, I would have appreciated it more, because I've always said time travel is a very finicky thing to mess with, because time travel is either gonna like completely ruin your movie or your game or your book, or it's gonna really blow someone's mind if you do it well. Problem is, more often than not, time travel is always it's too sensitive of a subject and too sensitive of a tool that more often than not it ends up ruining whatever work it's a part of. And very rarely do you see it actually work out, because there's too much to do with it, and then you end up with plot holes, and then you end up with like this game just resets on resets and a bunch of stuff just not making sense anymore because you've gone through a million different timelines and like nothing adds up.
Right.
You're starting fresh every time and nothing leads anywhere. You're just starting over with nothing. There's no progress. So yeah, I wish if this game had been linear instead of just, because you can reset whenever you want. It's not like a story thing unless you like die, or if it's meant to happen. But otherwise, you can reset whenever you want. Even if you have a couple days left, you can reset way ahead of time. If you're just like, I'm bored, let me just reset. Then just reset. And then you can do that and start from day one again. So, but it's not. I don't know. It's not fleshed out enough, but otherwise, everything else of that game is great, and even the battle system is great. I mean, it's your typical turn-based RPG system, but again, you don't have your typical attack and defend type stuff. You usually you give out commands, and those commands then turn into what would effectively be an attack or a stat boost and stuff like that. If you compliment someone, let's just say in the middle of a battle, all of a sudden, they'll get, plus 10 defense, or someone will feel, courageous, and they'll, take the hit for you. It's very sort of weaved in, and the camera work is really, really well done. Super cinematic, super dynamic. It's not just your typical over-the-shoulder shot while it's waiting for you to just, select a prompt. It's constantly moving and doing zooming in, zooming out, and it's really, really cool how it's done. Really well done. But that game is just way too repetitive for its own good, and it just kills the mood. It kills the mood. It kills the fun of it, and it's unfortunate, because I think there's something that could have been really special there. But that tediousness of looping is it's too loosely done for it to have any real sort of value and significance to the overall gameplay. They should have just you can still have that story, but without the the looseness of it. Because I mean, you look at something like Steins Gate. Steins Gate's brilliant. Steins Gate is a linear visual novel, You can go different paths depending on some of the decisions that you make, but otherwise it's linear. I mean, if you keep playing, you'll run to the credits eventually. Um, but that has to do with time travel. Steins Gate, I still think, is like one of the top tier sort of examples of how to do time travel properly. But again, that was a linear game. You didn't have to have that openness of just like reset whenever you want, or we'll reset for you when the time runs out. And it's I don't know. The game had so much potential, but ultimately I ended up feeling more annoyed than anything, And I think the moment I start getting annoyed, that's not how I want to spend my time. So I turn it off after a while. I was like, I'm good. So.
Yeah, if you're gonna do loops, you gotta have some things to make it where it's different every time, or you at least minimize all the stuff that gets repetitive. Kind of like Forgotten City did that pretty well.
Forgotten City did that incredibly. Yeah.
Where it's like, okay, you loop around like, oh, have I heard this already? Like, it had all sorts of little things. Like, if you didn't want to go through it again, you didn't have to. So it was like very well thought out.
Yeah, no, my God, Forgotten City was brilliant. Yeah, no, I love Forgotten. That's a great example. I didn't even think about that for some reason when I was doing the review for it.
Totally different kind of game, but similar where it's built around like a mechanic of looping back and doing things again and figuring stuff out as you go.
Yeah, no, Forgotten City is a great example. God, I love that game. Yeah, that's a great one. Yeah, see, that's a good one. And Loop 8 should have learned from that. Otherwise, everything else about Loop 8 is so damn good, honestly. But it's unfortunate that the actual gameplay and core loop of it is really what ruined it. And because it's so essential, it ruined the whole game. So it's not. I had to put it down. I was like, I'm not touching this again. So. But yeah. Anyways, I've also been playing more Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. That's going to be happening for the foreseeable future. I don't think I'm anywhere near completing that game. I don't even think I'm halfway done with that game. And
how many hours have you put into it at this point?
55 hours, I think, was the last time my profile said.
I'm beating
something.
you. So, I was just. Yeah. I was talking about it earlier. I'm like over 70 now as of today. So.
Oh, nice.
My sister is over 100, but she's not working in the summer because she's a teacher, so she can do that.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
She's got some time.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's still great.
Are you just kind of playing that game like just whatever takes your attention, just wandering around everywhere? Are you trying to tackle specific things, or
no? Yeah, I'm just going with the flow. That's what I did with Breath of the Wild. I had no intent. I mean, I was nursing it, So like that's what I'm doing with Tears of the Kingdom. I'm not trying to rush through it. That's one of those games that I want to, whatever happens, happens. I mean, eventually I'll run through the credits, but at the moment, whatever happens, happens. I love the exploration factor is too strong in that game to not want to take advantage of that and get lost in that beautiful world. So. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've done a big chunk of the main story. I think I've done. Yeah, I don't know. I've done all of the temple things, and then I have a main quest that's pointing me towards Hyrule Castle, so I'm assuming that's the end. Maybe it's not. It could be pulling the rug out from me. Haha, no, do this instead once you get there. But I'll just do like a little main story thing here or there, and then I'll go wander off doing a bunch of the different side quests I've picked up everywhere because you get so many side quests in that game.
Yeah, you do.
I need to wrap it up though because there's a lot of other games that are big that are coming out. That I'm like, I need to play them too, but I'm still playing Zelda.
I know. It's why I want I hopefully I'll have it done by September because I know that's when Starfield comes out. So that'll be the next game I really just sort of get lost in. But we'll see. But yeah, so just been playing more of that. I mean, it's great as always. So, but in addition to that, I've also been playing some Diablo 4. That's been a great time.
Yay!
Yeah,
what have you been playing as? What's your class? What do you think so far?
Sorcerer. I've been playing as a sorcerer. Diablo 3. I didn't jump into Diablo 3 until the Ultimate Edition came out. And so I, started off as a necromancer. I know necromancer wasn't initially there. I think when the game first came out.
Ultimate Edition added it.
Yeah, so once I got that, then I played as necromancer, and I loved necromancer. And I almost thought about doing it again, but I was like, no, let me just.
It is necromancer is the easiest. We were talking about this earlier. Is the easiest character to play if you just want to solo.
Yeah.
I died. I have a necromancer and a rogue, and I have died a number of times. The necromancer.
Mm-hmm.
Usually boss fights. Oof. Ugh.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, I wanted to do something different this time around, so I was like, let me go sorcerer. So that's what I've been mainly playing as. I was really tempted to go rogue just because I love stealth in anything
It's
really. So
it's just massive crowd control just with the rogue. It just
oh, is
you
it?
hit them so fast. I didn't AOE
Yeah.
build. I was telling the other two AOE build.
Mhm.
I'm in and killing stuff. It's crazy. Just
Yeah.
zip, 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 boom, 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 and then you're gone. So
Yeah. See, I love that stuff though. Like,
Yeah.
it's so, but it was tempting to go with that, but I was like, nah, I'm just gonna go sorcerer. But I've been having a great time with
yeah, cool.
sorcerer, and yeah, I've been having a lot of fun with that. So, game is great. Lilith is awesome. I think she's so badass. Every time I see her, I get excited, man. I don't know why everybody's always complaining. That's the thing. Everybody in Sanctuary is just like, oh no, Lilith is back. I was like, dude, let me crack open a beer. This is great. This is great. Like, what do you... everybody over here is crying, complaining. Oh no, the daughter of hatred. What are we gonna do? We're gonna have a damn good time. That's what we're gonna have. Here's a beer.
But you feel sorry for those 3 guys that had to bring her back. I mean,
That was yeah. Let me tell you something. Though. It's they they sacrificed for a good cause. But but it is what it is. But the game is really really solid though, really strong,
Yeah.
and really been having a great.
What
time
are you playing it on?
Been going back and forth between the Series S and Series X, so just kind of going back and forth between that. I want to get it on PC.
Okay, that's cool. I'm glad you're enjoying it.
Yeah, I want to get it on PC since there's cross save, so that way I can just play there whenever I'm feeling a keyboard and mouse, and I don't want to set up the TV or nothing.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, no, it's been running and playing great on both the Xboxes, and yeah, beautiful game. Graphics are great. The whole, it's just really accessible this time around. I think one of the reasons why it took me so long to get into Diablo was because it never felt accessible to me.
I mean,
and
it's a good way to get carpal tunnel, that's for sure.
It is. My God, all the buttons I know. That's, but yeah, no, I've been having a really really great time with it. That's also another game. It's sort of easy to get sidetracked with, just because of side quests and the my God,
what's
the
over
little
here? Dungeon.
graveyards and the dungeon. Yeah,
What's
exactly.
this?
Yeah. So
this one says barbarian only. I'm still gonna go in there. Oh no.
yeah, still gonna. That's right. Yeah, you can't tell me what to do.
That reward has to be at least decent. And then like a couple
Right.
of them, I was like, yeah, that's pretty crappy, but it's still good to go down
Right.
there.
Yeah. But yeah, no, it's been a really really great game. It's definitely one of those like another types of games where it's just very rewarding as you play through, and it gets better the more you play through it too.
Yeah.
It's really interesting how it works, and the story's great so far from what I've experienced. And I wish I'd have played more, but I mean, there's only so much you can do with so much time. So, but yeah, overall it's been a great time. And then in addition to that, because they came out so close to each other, so I've been kind of going back and forth between them. Street Fighter 6. Been playing that, man. I couldn't. I was trying to hold off, man. But I couldn't. The hype got to me. The hype got to me, and then I played the demo, and that's what really sold me on it. Because I've never been particularly good at like most, not all, but most 2D fighting games I've never been particularly good at, and particularly the juggernauts like Street Fighter, Tekken, Mortal Kombat, ones like that. But I could tell right away, because they introduced that new modern control system, that it was exactly the type of fighting game that I like to play. Like Dragon Ball Fighters and like basically anything Axis does. Axis, they develop fantastic fighting games, and usually I can get into them no problem. And I get pretty competitive with those, and my skill level is pretty high with those games. But the ones that you typically would need like an arcade cabinet for, those I've never been particularly good with. I'm just not going to remember your whole Einstein equation to do a grappling attack. I'm not I'm just not going to do
back
it.
in Street Fighter 2 back in the day at the arcade. That was it. Now I couldn't do that stuff if I wanted to. I couldn't. I can't remember it. I just can't.
I just did 20 button inputs, and all I did was pick my nose. What?
Anymore, when I play a fighting game, I'm that guy just sitting back in the corner, just kick, kick, punch, kick, kick, punch, kick, kick, punch. It's like, I can't remember those combinations anymore. I can't pull them off. My hands just won't let me do it anymore.
Yeah,
they're too ridiculous. But Street Fighter 6, since they introduced modern controls, it's exactly how I've been wanting it to play for so long, and it feels great now. And now I'm so into it, and I love it, and it's exactly how I like my fighting games to be. So, and that world tour mode is just so much fun. I mean, you basically Street Fighter turned itself into an RPG. Basically, it's awesome.
Yeah, that's what I kind of got from what I've seen, little bits and pieces of it. It's like that's interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's like an RPG. It feels, honestly, funny enough, it feels very, like, granted, it's a very streamlined version, but it feels very Yakuza. It feels very, very Yakuza.
I kind of got that vibe from watching some of it. Yeah, it was like, that's weird. It does feel kind of, it looked very Yakuza-like. It was like...
It did. And it does, too. I mean, people will run up to you randomly, too, if they don't like the way you look, and then they'll just say, hey, fight me. You can go and punch anybody on the street, and that'll immediately start a fight, and, like, it's just, you can get your clothes, and that's how you increase your stats and stuff like that. It's super, super cool, man. It's really great. The story is awesome, and they do such a good job at giving so much personality to the characters, the classic characters that we've known for Street Fighter for so long, like Chun-Li, like Ryu, and Ken, and so on and so forth. And it's so awesome to just see them all and just be able to just speak with them like they're just normal everyday characters or people, and rather than just like, here's another character, select screen, choose a stage, and just go for it. There's depth this time. There's so much to do, and yeah, you can spend hours among hours in that world tour mode alone. I'll be honest, even if you just bought Street Fighter 6 for world tour mode and not really because you wanted to play online or play competitively or whatnot, I mean, I still think it would be worth the price of admission. Like it really is that good. So, and I think you get your money's worth from that world tour mode alone, because it's a full-fledged game. It's not like your typical story mode that fighting games typically give, where it's just like, here's a 4-hour campaign. It's mainly just a glorified tutorial. That's what a lot of fighting games sort of suffer from. This is a full-fledged, like, from what I saw, from How Long to Beat, and just from other people, Steam reviews and stuff like that, because I haven't beaten it. But you're looking at anywhere between like a 25 to 35-hour campaign. That's a full-fledged game.
Yeah, that's wild.
For world tour mode. Yeah. So, and the city's big. I wasn't expecting it to be that big. I thought it was a small hub. Nope. That map is huge. That map is huge. I mean, that's like Kamurocho style. It's deep. It really is. And I was like really, really impressed. I honestly thought it was going to be just a small hub. Nope. It's gigantic. You can get lost with lots to uncover. There's treasure chests everywhere for you to, get, money and new equipment from, whatnot. And it's awesome. Yeah. I mean, like I said, if you're just playing World Tour mode alone, that's worth the price of admission. I think it's a really, really great game. And that RE engine, man, oh my God. Every time I see it, that's one of the best inventions in video games in a long time. Capcom, every time I see RE engine pop up on the screen from anything from Capcom, I'm just like, oh, there it is. There it is. There's my boy. There's my boy. There's my engine right there. Oh my God. Oh, I love it. It's just so well optimized and such a beautiful engine that they really knocked it out of the park with. So, it's great. But yeah, that's everything I've been playing. I've been playing that on PC also. Oh, did I tell you guys I finally got a Steam Deck a while back? So.
Oh yeah, you mentioned something about it in the Discord. Yeah.
Yeah, so I've been playing it on that, and it's been running and playing great on the Steam Deck.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, well, welcome to the next gen. It's already here. Yeah, I'm glad you.
Yeah, it's already here. Just a couple months after.
No, you're fine. You're fine with the Steam Deck. I've still got my Steam Deck.
I've been having a great time with it. Honestly, the only reason why I'd want the ROG Ally is because that would finally give me the portable Xbox experience that I've always wanted.
Yeah, and that's what I was saying before you got here. I mean, I literally have GOG, Epic Game Store. Humble Bundle, itch.io, Steam, Xbox Game Pass. You could do the PlayStation Plus streaming if you pay for that. I mean, you can do all that. So, yeah, I mean, BattleNet. You know, it's all right here on this without having to do any hoops and ladders.
Yeah,
You know,
any,
I've
like,
been playing.
ups and downs.
You know, I played Diablo on the Steam Deck and it ran great. You know, I just had to do a little side action to get BattleNet on there, but it wasn't that hard and it worked fine. So
yeah, because I have GOG and Epic Games on my Steam Deck, and so far everything I've played from them has been like really great. I mean, it runs like it should, and it's been really, really solid. But the only problem is, I mean, like I said, I want that portable Xbox experience where I don't have to use the cloud. I mean, cloud technology has come a long way, and the xCloud is like really, really solid. Like every time I put it up on my phone, I'm like impressed, and or even if I want to test something out on the Xbox really quick, before I download it, like the cloud, it's almost like I'm playing it locally. It's great, but still you won't be able to beat actually playing it locally. So
that's
I have
what
so
I
many
was saying
games.
with this.
It's right.
I was playing.
And I have so many.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Well, no, I was just gonna say I have so many games that are Xbox Play Anywhere now, and that's such a big selling point for me now. Whenever I buy anything on the Microsoft Store, it's like, okay, is it Xbox Play Anywhere? So that way I can have both a PC and an Xbox copy,
Right.
And that sells me a lot. So now my Windows library is huge because of everything that I bought from Xbox, and just be able to play that locally, and obviously have that cross-save functionality, and it's great. It's amazing with Game Pass included. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Amazing.
I mean, and that's what I was telling the guys before you got here. I mean, I downloaded Forza Horizon 5, was playing it 60 frames a second on this thing, 1080p. It was low res, but you couldn't tell it with the FSR on there. I mean, it was great. It ran 60 frames, no problem. I can play Destiny on this because it doesn't have the anti-cheat thing. I can play Halo Infinite multiplayer on there because it has the anti-cheat thing on. It may get me back into playing Destiny again because I can play it on a handheld. I mean, for those type of games, this thing is great. I'm still going to use my Steam Deck. Like Baldur's Gate 3. I can't play Baldur's Gate 3 on this until they bring out controller support because there's no mouse and keyboard. So I'd have to play it on the Steam Deck with the mouse pads.
Or PC or something.
Yeah, or hook up a mouse and keyboard to it, which kind of defeats the purpose of this. But, I guess I could hook it up to the TV. That's the one thing I haven't tried yet is hooking this up to the TV with one of my mini docks.
That's what I was going to ask. Is it does have output? It has TV output.
Yep, it has TV output through the USB-C, just like Steam Deck does.
Okay. Damn, that's awesome.
I mean, and you could buy that stupid expensive graphics $2,000.
Oh yeah, the external graphics.
Yeah, you could buy one of those for it if you wanted to. It's cool, but
they also have the basically outlet plug dock that you can get as well.
Yeah, and I've got one here from JSOX that works with the Steam Deck. It works with this. It's the exact same thing. It's just not a 65-watt charger. It's a 45-watt, which is all you need. It's the one thing that I have noticed, and I don't know if you've noticed it or not, but when you have the thing hooked up, that charger gets hot when you're trying to play a game. I mean, I went to unplug it the other day in a hotel room, and I was like, holy fright, I'm going to have to let the charging adapter cool down before I put it in a suitcase. 65-watt thing, just playing a game at 1080p, it was like it was hot. It was like, this is, what am I, in 1981, where, I'm using a big, Genesis brick. What is going on here? But yeah.
Hurry, Nikki, bring me a sandwich. I found a new way to warm it.
Yeah, we could fry bologna on this thing. It's like, but yeah. I mean, Steam Deck's awesome. I love my Steam Deck. I love this Ally, and I'll like it more once I get used to it. Today's really the first day I've really put a whole lot of time in it. But having Game Pass games on it is pretty cool. To be able to do that. Windows needs some work, but for a handheld anyway. But it's fine. You got to get used to it. So, no, all right. Well, has anybody got anything else before we call the show? I think we're rolling right on to midnight here on the East Coast, so it's time to go to bed. I got to get up early in the morning. I got movie tickets at 10:30 in the morning, so I got doing the early show.
Busy man.
Well,
You seen the Flash? What do you want?
yeah, we're going to go see the Flash.
Okay.
It's 2.5 hours, and then they'll have a half-hour previews before, so it's going to be a 3-hour
Yeah.
ordeal. So it'll be
Yeah.
1 o'clock before we get out of the movie theater. Anyway,
Yeah.
so it's like, 10:30 showing, excellent. I can get in and out before 2 o'clock in the afternoon. That's good. And we have to go an hour just to go to the movie theater, so it's a drive. So, but yeah. So all right, well. Let me look at the dates here. We should be back in 2 weeks as long as everything goes all right. Last week was my fault. I was on vacation, but it was a working vacation around here, and I was exhausted. I was so tired. I took an extra vacation day on Monday to relax before I went back to work. It was like it's pretty bad when you have 7 days, 9 days off, and you work so much that you're tired. So you have to take a vacation day to relax before you get back to work. Sad. But yeah, so we should be back in 2 weeks as long as everything goes well. But like I always say, if you want to come want to join us live, follow us on Twitter at GL_podcast. That'll let you know when we are going live. And if not, you'll just get it on your podcast catcher of choice, like always, sometime on Sunday. It'll be a little later tomorrow since I've got to go to the movies, but it'll still be Sunday, I promise. So,
Yep.
All right, guys. Well, thanks a lot for hanging out and listening to us, and we'll see you all next time.
Take care.
See you later.